Hey, everybody. Peter Fayroian here, head of Greenhills School, and doing one of the things that I love the most these days, which is having conversations with our alums who are out there in the world, enacting on our mission and doing really smart, wonderful, thoughtful, helpful things for their communities and greater communities. And that person today is Jon Weed, class of 1987, who graduated, 3-4 years before your sister, Gail? 84?
3 years after Gail.
After Gail's older.
Yeah.
She looks
Yep.
so much younger than you. So, but Jon, that was for you, Gail. Jon went on to graduate from DePaul University with a degree in economics and has been a financial advisor and senior portfolio manager with Morgan Stanley in Indianapolis for over 20 years.
Yep.
Which prepared you really well for this venture. Back in 2013, Jon and his family started Be Happy Peanut Butter. That's B period, happy peanut butter, as a way to teach his kids about running a small business, and what started as a chance to participate in their local farmers market during the summer has now grown into a burgeoning and legitimate business over the past 8 years. Be Happy has gone from a local brand to a regional brand to national availability through a partnership with Meijer and private label peanut butter with Kroger. Jon and his family have shipped Be Happy to every state through their online website. That's behappypeanutbutter.com, B, not B-E, and have Be Happy fans all over the country now. Teresa Casey, Jon, as you know, our director of alumni relations, brought in your peanut butters for me to sample, and I will tell you that as a result, you have now one more happy fan right here. And I will tell you that of these three, one is peanut butter, white chocolate, and pretzels. The other is the peanut butter, cranberries, white and dark chocolate. And my favorite, and I'm sort of curious as to whether I'm in a minority, majority, is peanut butter, milk chocolate, toffee, and Rice Krispies. So I have my spoon. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stay out of it while my kids haven't tried them yet because
you'll be in trouble then.
I know, right? So listen, let's just start simply. Like, tell us your story about how Be Happy Peanut Butter came into being from soup to nuts, or actually wouldn't be soup to nuts, it would be from nuts to butter, I guess.
The grind of Be Happy Peanut Butter. Yeah.
Right.
So we started this adventure in 2013. We were just making peanut butter at home, just really for ourselves. We gave it to some friends and we were just mixing different things into it. Our original flavor was a Happy Trails mix. So it had, raisins and chocolate chips and flaxseed and, so just something that, again, that you would just eat out of the jar with a spoon. That's kind of what we say is eat it with a spoon. We're giving you the permission, to not have to put it on a sandwich. It's great with apples. It's great on, an English muffin. I mix it into my Greek yogurt for lunch. So that's a really good idea. And we just made it to be something to enjoy, and we call it a snack mix. So it's really not something you'd put on a sandwich. But so we're just making it at home, and through a real serendipitous meeting, we had a mom of one of my daughter's friends who was opening up a store in Zionsville, the town that we live in. And so she knew about our peanut butter, and she said, hey, if you want to sell it at the farmer's market, you could use my commercial kitchen and make it here, and then you'd be allowed to sell it to the farmer's market, because obviously you can't make stuff in your own kitchen and have it legally sold out there. So we took her up on that offer, and I said, okay, well, this will be a fun thing to do with my kids, who back then were, let me think of the math, 14, 12, and 8. So they were pretty little, but old enough to be able to, kind of help make it. And I thought, this would be a good chance for them to learn how to sell at a farmer's market and talk to people and make change, and just kind of a little lemonade stand. And we were so uncommitted. We only signed up for half of the summer. So we only said, we'll do every other week at the farmer's market. We didn't want to commit every Saturday. And so we started doing that, and people loved it. And so some stores in Indianapolis found us and asked if they could carry our peanut butter, which they did. And then, it just snowballed. I mean, it was, we had some articles written about us here in Indianapolis. We were on the news a few different times, and all of a sudden, every time that happened, a few new stores would find us, and, we started expanding this business. And so after about a year, we moved out of the Friends commercial kitchen and got our own commercial kitchen just for us. We had it 24/7, which was a really big step for us. And we were still just making it, and selling it to mostly local Indianapolis stores. And, over the next few years, again, it kind of grew. And so, we got a distributor, and they got us into more regional stores in Illinois and Ohio, and more parts of Indiana. We sell on a website called Uncommon Goods, and they sell a lot of unique products. Well, they somehow found us super early on. And so we've had a sampler pack on their website for the last 6 years now or so.
I know that website. That's great.
Yeah, they've got great stuff.
Yeah.
And again, it was one of the, we've had so many crazy moments of, someone just calling us out of the blue and saying, hey, we've, tried your peanut butter and we'd like to carry it, or we'd like to do something with you.
Yeah.
And so they've been a huge partner for us. They really kind of put us on the national map, because they send out catalogs a few times a year that go out to, 10 million people. So we sell a lot of sampler packs through them. And then in the last couple of years, the big things that have happened are Meyer, out of Michigan, contacted us. And so starting this year, they started carrying 4 of our best flavors, the 3 that you got there, and 1 more. And the green one, the Go Lucky that you were eating, that chocolate toffee, it's our,
in my teeth.
yeah, it's our second best seller. So it's right up there. Actually, the orange label one, the one with the white chocolate pretzel,
Yeah.
is our best seller. So yeah. So that one is called Dream Big. So on the side, you'll see different names. And I guess this is an important thing to say is, when we started this, it was right. Yep. So, the whole thing was, we're going to build a business. Let's have it be fun and be positive. And so, anyone that knows me will tell you, like, I'm just a super positive person. So, this idea of be happy kind of came across my mind, and I thought, well, let's just make this a be happy product. And then the names of the different flavors are all, I think just fun, positive things. So one's called Dream Big, one's called Go Lucky. That one's called Joy to the World.
Yeah.
That was a Christmas flavor a few years ago. We've got one that's called Pay It Forward. Happy Trails Mix, So Happy Together. So just, positive, fun stuff. And and then the other big thing that started to happen for us is we've had a couple Kroger contacted us a couple of years ago and asked us if we would do something for their private label. So they've got something called Private Selection, which is their kind of high-end private label stuff. So we created 3 unique flavors for Kroger, and so it just hit the shelves this July. And so we're in 2,100 Kroger stores with their Private Selection. So unfortunately, it doesn't say "Be Happy" anywhere on the label, but if you see 3 of their Private Selection, they've got this cool black label to it. That's us making it.
Okay, I'll look for that next time
Yeah.
I'm in Kroger. Well, I watched one of the videos one of the news shows that interviewed you and Kathy, I think, and maybe your son. It was a while back, and clearly she's more experienced at interviewing people than I am because she didn't actually eat it while she was talking with you.
Okay.
So wasn't constantly sort of delightfully pulling it out from that's what's peanut butter,
Right.
from. So apologies for watching me do that while I'm talking
No.
with you. But I'm curious your thoughts. What were the components of the perfect storm here? Like there's no doubt. It's just it makes you feel you don't even have to eat it and you feel good about it. What was it? Is it the timing, the right combination of peanut butter, and is it the marketing of it? Why did this take off, do you think?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And with everything, there's always a degree of luck to things. But it's not just luck. I mean, saying, you got lucky is kind of denying a lot of the hard work that goes into things. And there was a lot of hard work, and there's still a lot of hard work. There's maybe even more hard work today. I think it was just a combination of, I think people like the story. This idea of, starting something, teaching your kids, the positiveness of it, the name, the flavor names. I think that kind of just strikes a chord with people that go, oh God, like, what a neat thing to do, and what a, unique opportunity to teach your kids something in a real world environment. And they've gotten to hear all the good and the bad. Um, they've seen, the tough times, and they've seen the good times, and they've been able to participate, and they're really proud of it too. It's really fun to see them have friends talk to them, or them, be on TV or interviewed, and those kind of things have been really neat thing for them. And then I think the product is just really unique. It's
Mhm.
really different. We've tried peanut butter literally from all over the country. And I think both our texture, it's somewhere between smooth and crunchy, but also just the inclusions that we put in it, whether it's the white chocolate pretzel, or we've got a snickerdoodle popcorn one, the chocolate toffee, we've got a chocolate cherry. It's just, it's really different. And the peanut butter that we've kind of run into is like super smooth peanut butter that has a little bit of inclusions in it, or artificial flavors or things like that. And that's just not how ours is made.
Mhm.
So I think it was just a combination of something that was really uniquely positioned out there as far as the product. And then I think the story and the positive make people feel good to support, the family business.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, right, as happens with all family businesses, and whether it's any micro shop or that starts producing something and then catches on, like what's next? And
Yeah.
then are you and Kathy also talking about, well, at some point you no longer become that story when
Right.
you become something bigger
Like,
else, right?
yeah. Yeah, and it has changed. I mean, first of all of our kids are now 8 years older than when we started. So, we've got one out of college, and we've got one in college, and we've got one finishing high school. And so, their free time and involvement, has diminished as we've also grown. We have 6 employees. In 2020, we worked and found a co-packer. So, when you're making hundreds of thousands of jars, instead of thousands of jars, we just couldn't do it in the facility that we had. And so we've worked with a co-packer, and we've worked with them to get them the recipes and perfected, and all of that. And so, the things for Kroger, the things for Meyer, they're making it. And so that's been a real evolution for us, is, taking it from us making every single jar to, us now making 20% of it, and then making 80% of it, again,
Right.
with our watchful eye and all of that. So that's been a big leap for us, and will continue as we have other, exciting things in the pipeline with Trader Joe's and more things with Meyer. And
This is
there's a
right
lot.
up Trader Joe's alley. Like, I'm
Oh
surprised.
my
you haven't
gosh.
seen it. And,
Yeah. Just had a conversation with them last week. And again, the luck part was someone was visiting family in Indianapolis, happened to get some Be Happy peanut butter, loved it, sent it to their product development team in California and said, we need to talk to these people. And so we had a Zoom call with their product development team last week, and is looking at doing some private label stuff with them. So again, hard work kind of creates your luck, I think, in a lot of ways, but we've had some really great experiences with things like that just kind of, I will say, fall in our lap,
right.
for lack of a better
Right.
word. Yeah.
I just realized I don't know whether I have the mirroring. Is this reading backwards or is it?
No,
reading?
it reads the right way.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. As I was
Yeah.
putting it on, I was getting Zoom. I should be better at Zoom at this point. But so here's a question for you. I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm just I'm fascinated by the entrepreneurship sort of element of this. I'd like to talk for you to talk a little bit about that and talk, for our students in particular. And it'd be great to
Yeah.
have you here in person at some point to talk about
Yeah, I'd love to.
how you do this, and you have a day job too. But I have little kids, and I'd be arrested for sending them to school with this, as you know. It seems.
Peanut butter is-
Where are you all in your thinking? Like, I'm sure I'm not the first person to ask you to I have no allergies, but your market would expand, right, exponentially if you had a sunflower or a non-nut. So what are your thoughts about that?
We get asked that all the time. And I've been blessed not to have food allergies, and our kids don't have it. And so, we weren't super sensitive to that when we were starting this, because we're just making something that we liked. And so, we get asked a lot about gluten and things like that. So the issue for us is two things. I mean, one is, trying to keep the consistency of what we're making and being, true to that uniqueness, and also costs. People, it's like, oh, well, why don't you make an almond butter? Why don't you make a macadamia nut butter? So, I'm like, okay, yeah, but are you going to spend $15 a jar instead of the $8 a jar? Because that's the input cost, is trying to make things. For us, we wanted to make it accessible to everybody. A big thing for us starting this was, and frankly, $8 for a jar of peanut butter is expensive, when you're comparing it to Jif. Now, I don't think our competition is Jif. I think our competition is Ben and Jerry's, and our competition is, that snack bar or that granola bar that you're going to put in your drawer instead of the peanut butter that you might eat spoonfuls of. So we just kind of decided a long time ago, is there's some great companies that make those almond butters and all natural things, and and we're going to let them do that, and we're just going to make peanut butter. The other thing is, facility wise, when you're making it, you just can't do it. Like, you can't have your peanut butter factory switch off every other day and then start making a nut, a tree nut butter, because of different allergies. People are allergic to almonds, but they're not allergic to peanuts.
Right.
And so you can't flip back and forth. So facility wise and production wise, we just said, this is what we do. We make peanut butter.
Yeah.
And if you can't eat it, I'm sorry.
Right. Well, I mean, that's great. I mean, you're staying true to your mission. And as we know, oftentimes the success of institutions and industries and businesses is not so much often always what you do, it's what you're not doing too, is what you choose not to do as a result.
Yeah.
So the inevitable question for the head of your alma mater to ask you, of course, is, what did you get the entrepreneurship bug here at Greenhills? In what ways did your Greenhills experience? And I have your yearbook here.
Forward.
Also inevitable. And here's Jonathan.
Oh, look at that young kid.
Yeah, look at that. And
Yeah,
what's going on
with a
with you?
sister.
Is that Gail?
That's Gail, and that's actually underwear on my head. So that's a
great.
very special family picture of me dressed
Now,
up with underwear on my head. It's
great.
very
And now it's going to be out there online for everybody in the world to see. Your quotes, I won't even get into the dialogue in your quote, because there's obviously a subtext.
Is it from The Princess Bride? I swear to God, I have not looked at this in 30 years.
It is. It's from The Princess Bride.
Okay.
Yep. So great. Now, but I do want to know, with apologies to Kathy, I did find a photograph of you and Sarah together here, with the caption saying, John and Sarah refuse to be parted. So Kathy, if this is news to you, I'm sorry, but do you still keep in touch with Sarah?
No, I haven't talked to Sarah in years, thought of Sarah in years. She was
I think you should send her some of this.
Good friend. Yeah. Well, I think I'm in the forward a lot because I dated a girl named Elisa Lumens at the time. And
yeah, sure.
And so she, I think, was the editor my senior year when we were dating. So I think there's quite a few pictures of me. And if you go through the ads in the back, I think I'm in like 70% of them, because she would grab Derek and I and say, hey, we've got to go to the Michigan Den or whatever the place is and be part of this ad. So
oh yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
Well, the purpose of this wasn't to embarrass you, but it had to happen.
Yeah.
But, so what's the link? What's the
So I give my parents a lot of credit. I mean, my dad worked for Ford for 33 years, so that's not the most entrepreneurship career out there. But he and my mom always, I don't know, kind of had side things that they do. And so I just kind of grew up in a family that wasn't afraid to try stuff. Greenhills, and I've said this to people over and over who, they say, boy, your graduating class was 53 people. That's so weird. And that's so small. And I said, yeah, but I got to do things at Greenhills that I never would have been able to do at Plymouth Salem or Plymouth Canton. I got to, play basketball and play tennis. And I got to be student council president a couple of years and, do some plays. And I mean, just a lot of different things that I think really shaped my, helped me not be afraid to try new things.
Yeah.
Because I was able to do them. And I just don't think you could have done that at a school with 400 people in a graduating class, because I wasn't great at basketball and I wasn't great at tennis. And my acting skills probably, needed help. But leadership, the leadership I got to do at Greenhills really carried on to college. And I got to do some really great leadership things in college too, that I think just kind of helped build both my self-confidence and also, my ability to try new things.
Right. Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate your saying that. I mean, we're bigger than we were.
Yeah.
We're here, but this year we're graduating 76 seniors. Last year, 2 years ago, we graduated, 90. So, it's bigger, but not twice the size, but still small enough for those things to happen that you're talking about. I'm interested in your comment that, in taking risks, right? As much, or actually taking advantage of opportunities and taking risks is something that you were able to do here that you've carried on with you. And certainly this was a risk, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And so along those lines, what was, talk a little bit about maybe a moment when you and Kathy said, yeah, this was a failure, because as we know, right, failing is all part of success. And what was a moment when you were about ready to just pack it in? And
well, early on, I would say, and she will jokingly say, she thought she was just signing up for a hobby, not building a business. And so early on, there were definitely some disconnects between my expectations and what her vision was. And that was, I wanted things to, if we were going to send, someone ordered it online, I wanted it sent out the next day. And she thought, oh, well, we'll get it out in the next few days or week or whatever. And so early on, we had some making sure that we're ended up on the same page. Work. So one of the benefits of having another job is if this failed, it wasn't going to change our lives. Like it didn't mean food on the table. It didn't mean a roof over our head. I luckily blessed to have a really good job that pays me well. And so this was not going to make the difference between, survival or not surviving. In some ways that's good. And in some ways that's bad, because I didn't have the time to go full bore on this. And I didn't have that pressure of, boy, I better make this work, because if I don't.
Right.
So, there is some advantage of trying something when it is more important to make it succeed. And we probably could have been where we are today 5 years earlier if this was something that I had the time to put full-time effort in, and the fear of, if it doesn't work, we're really in trouble. But it also gave us the financial ability to let this thing grow and not take some undue risks or things that we didn't get over our skis too early either, because we didn't get overly committed financially on this. But yeah, I'll tell you that the hardest part of this job was not the first 7 years, it's been the last year.
Huh.
And that's just because the growth has been so big. We've had to order, instead of 10,000 jars, 150,000 jars, instead of, 5,000 pounds of peanuts, 50,000 pounds of peanuts. So there's, scaling is scary. And, we're, we're in more financial debt now than we've ever been, just because it's all sitting on shelves in warehouses waiting to get turned into peanut butter. And so the last 12 months have been more scary and more sleepless nights than the first 7 years, just because we're dealing with things on a bigger scale that in some ways I'm well equipped to do because I deal with finances. And in other ways, I'm out of my league in some of this, and I'm learning as we go through. So I get to make mistakes, hopefully just once, hopefully I'm not making the same mistake over and over, but, definitely making mistakes and learning. And obviously the pandemic and logistics and supply chains and things like that have caused some new issues this past 12 months that probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago would not have been the same problems.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I'm really glad that you took this risk. I can't wait for my kids. I don't even know if I'm going to share these with my kids.
You're going to need at least find a good hiding spot for some of it.
I might keep them here in the office. Give me some energy. But so the final thoughts from you. Whether you're 11 years old or 18 or an adult, or we all have thoughts during the day, right? You know what? Yeah. There's a better mousetrap out there, or I'd love to do that. So for people who have those thoughts and ideas, and maybe at a time might have the opportunity to see them come to fruition, what advice would you have if you want for people who, like you, thought, hey, here's a great idea, but then took it to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, with everything, just try. I mean, give it a shot. It doesn't have to be something where it's going to be a huge success, or, I mean, sometimes, a small success is just as positive, just as reaffirming, as a big success. So, I'd say try different things. I will say one thing that I think that this younger generation, whether it's, the 25 and below or 30 and below, they're less afraid to try and fail. I think, back when I was a kid, or back when my parents were kids, or, it was more like, how do I, get into some stable, successful thing? And I think just with today's environment, the kids they're not afraid to try and fail, and and fail quick. I don't know if it's Mark Zuckerberg, I'm trying to remember who said it, but if you're going to fail quickly, and then move on and try
Mhm.
the next thing.
Right.
Um, and so I would just tell kids, try, and it's okay to start small.
Yep.
Um, and it's okay to be small.
Right.
We didn't build this with some grand illusion of, well, here's our 5-year plan. I mean, we did this in probably every possible way that you shouldn't start a business. Um, and that is not having marketing budgets, not having, a business plan, not having a 5-year plan. I mean,
Yep.
we just did it, and we learned, and it meant we made some more mistakes than we might have, but we weren't afraid to just keep trying, and keep working hard.
Yeah.
And my other thing is just be passionate about what it is.
Yep.
If I wasn't making peanut butter, and I was making a dog treat that I'm not passionate about, those late nights, those literally up until 3 o'clock in the morning nights in those first
Mhm.
few years, I would have quit, because
Right.
I wouldn't be passionate about it. I just happen to be passionate about this stupid peanut butter, and it got me through some really hard, long work early on.
Well, the passion is clear, both in its taste and its presentation, and sort of the central premise, which is just to be happy. Our mission at Greenhills ends with empowering kids to go out and make the world a better place, and
Yep.
you have that's the spirit behind this. It's about sort of being happier and having some fun, and
Yeah.
so congratulations on your
Thanks.
success, and please do come next time you're up visiting family. Please come by, bring a bunch of this with you, and
Yeah.
we'll get you together with some of our students, and we can't serve it in our dining hall necessarily, but we'll have a nut-free area where kids can come and taste and have a conversation with you. But what a
Yeah.
pleasure this has
I'd
been.
love to come and talk to students. I've done it here in our town, and really enjoy that. It's a great way to kind of teach kids about, not being afraid to try something.
Yeah, it's great. Well, it's good to see you, John.
Good seeing you.
And
Thanks so much for getting this set up for us.
you bet. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.